So staying in the vein of big fights, right? Um, we had another topic, but I want to squeeze this one in real quick because I feel like we
Okay.
can't not talk about this because it's coming up. Jaron Boots Ennis, Montes Stanionis.
Stanionis.
Boots has been calling for a big fight, and I know to most people, to the casuals, Stanionis is not the biggest name, but
Mhm.
Blair Cobbs, Stanionis is an absolute problem. You know what I'm saying,
So
bro?
much so that he had Blair Cobb's humbled. Like, yeah.
The way I heard him talk about, the way I heard Blair Cobbs talk about Stanionis, bro, was like how people talk about Mike Tyson for real, for real, for real.
Yo,
But
I ain't gonna lie, I don't know what he did to, but he had that boy really reminiscent. Like I don't
yeah,
know, man.
but I'm seeing two very mixed sides about this. You have people who saying like, nah, this is a good fight. Stanionis is like for real, come forward guy, great stamina, good chin, put pressure on you, but good feet movement, like not footwork in terms of avoiding you, but like in terms of positioning himself for the attack. So some
And
people are
stalking
saying
you.
this is legit. This is a hard fight. Then you have
Mhm.
other people saying this is like a Romaine Via 2.0. So like what side of the fence do you stand on in terms of Boots versus Stanionis?
I don't think it's gonna be a Romain Villa versus Boots too. I really don't. Even though it's easy to say if you look at them stylistically, and it probably might be the case. I just don't think it will be. I don't believe that. I think Stanionis is definitely a much smarter fighter compared to Roman Villa. He has more
Mhm.
experience. I think he's more durable, especially with the high guard. I do think his punch variation is better than Roman Villa's as well. I don't think it's gonna go that way. I think Boots is gonna have to do a bit more in this fight than he did against Roman Villa for sure. This version of Boots has to be top notch. Otherwise, it can be a big upset. So,
Mm.
it could be. You know what I mean? But even though I'm leaning towards Boots winning, but I don't think it's gonna be easy at all. And I think
Yeah.
once if Boots could get past Stanionis, I think he clears the 147-pound division. I think Stanionis
Oh,
is going to be his toughest goal or his toughest obstacle.
yeah, I got Stanionis over Brian Norman Jr. over Mario
Barrios.
Barrios. So
Yeah.
I do think, stylistically, I think on paper it looks good, right? A guy who's going to come forward, be there for Boots to tee off on. But I do agree with Blair Cobbs in the sense that there's little slick things that Stanionis does that probably doesn't necessarily show up in the scouting report, right? I
Right.
think back to that Butev fight, which was just probably one of my favorite fights ever. Like that was a great fight, but like yeah, Stanionis, like first of all, it seems like the guy doesn't fatigue, which is going to be
Mhm.
tough. And if a guy is always coming at you and you have to throw to get him off of you, if that guy is not tiring out, and granted, we know everyone tires out, but it just seems like he has a very good motor, right?
Mhm.
And
Yes.
I think it's going to be put to the test, right? People are saying, "Hey, Boots has been kind of lackadaisical defensively just because he doesn't respect these other guys." So is it that, or is it that the step up in competition has been showing that his defense is not as tight as we thought it was? You know what I mean? So I
We're going
think
to find out.
that's really going to be put to the test this fight, and we're really going to see because Boots has been taking some big shots, and I'm just like, yo, Boots, you can't just be taking those punches. Could we see Boots touch the canvas this fight? I don't know, but I'm just saying, like, it's really going to be put to the test. Um, that's what I'm most interested in seeing. Like, have you just been a little lazy with your defense because you don't respect these other guys, or is that just your defense? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. We going to find out. That's going to be a test. He's going to have to, because Daniel's going to come in shape.
Yeah.
He's going to come in
And
shape, and he's going to come to throw a lot of punches, and he's going to be like his endurance. I would expect it to be top notch in terms of like being able to take punches, and it's just a matter of just who's going to be able to weather which storm, right? It's going to be two
yeah,
storms clashing. So
yeah, and I expect the best version of Boots Ennis. I expect a very, very tough Stanionis. I respect Stanionis for taking this fight. He was trying to get the Virgil Ortiz fight, and that never really came to fruition. And remember, at one point, Boots and Virgil both seemed like the next guys at 47. So Stanionis is really doing it, man. Really, really doing it. And I do think whoever wins this fight cleans out the division, honestly.
yep, agree.
All right.